again for another shit sandwich. I hope you're hungry. Ah, dear oh dear. I have literally just recorded this video and it's taken me over an hour to do it. And the weirdest thing happened is that when I tried to edit it, half the video has gone missing. Now, the interesting thing is that the half the video that's gone missing is the most important part, where I really hammer God and really roast this God that this woman meets. And it's all very weird, right? I never have any issues with editing, but the fact that half the video just disappeared, I don't know, call me a conspiracy theorist. But anyway, so yeah, I'm back. I'm going to do a NDE review. It's been a while since I've done one. Guys, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'm not going to stop reviewing NDEs. I'm not going to stop reviewing New Agers, because there are billions of people, literally, that are still stuck in those concepts, still think going to the light is a good idea, still believe in the masquerading entities and all these concepts. So sometimes I get comments, well, I know this, I know that. Good for you, right? There is a tiny, tiny handful of people. When you look at the bigger picture, they tell us 7 billion people. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But there's a lot of people that are not aware of this information. I try and make it fun. We have a laugh. I think in general, hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know by giving the video a like, comment, and all of that stuff. We're going to get into this video. I've sped up her voice a little bit because I've just had to listen to it once, but it's a really good one because, as I've spoken about before, and not just me, other researchers as well, there are two kinds of NDEs, near-death experiences. There is the NDE where people are dying, and they are being shown these false realms, these false heavenly realms, which of course are all love and light, wonderful, gets you feeling woo-woo, and they have an incredible experience, quote unquote. So what happens is they come back down and they become agents of the Matrix. They become propaganda agents. They tell everyone on their YouTube videos, their interviews that they do, that it's wonderful, you don't have anything to worry about, it's all love, God's there, Jesus there, is there, your angels are there, because they've been shown these false realms that are created. The real death experience is when we go to the processing center, the Beetlejuice environment, where they talk about in the film defending your life, if you haven't seen it. And then you end up being shipped off to like an astral version of Earth, where it's even under more lockdown. And if we believe what some of these astral travelers tell us, where you wait before you come back for another lifetime in the physical Earth, and you get your memory wiped, you forget everything that you learned, and you get used as a battery for your energy for these negative entities to feed on, right? That's the real death experience. But of course, these people are shown these realms to propagate the falsehoods that are going on in the astral, which is the prison yard of this matrix. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Fast that I didn't know I was dead. It seemed very seamless, very flawless. I was just out of my body. And I walked up the stairs. It was like the sky opened up. And
wonderful, the staircase. They make it look so good. I know that's like an image, an AI image, but
I could see the vastness of the universe. I saw the stars and the planets and different colors.
Let's just pause this and read it. Death is beautiful. When seen to be a law and not an accident, it is common as life. Isn't this just typical of the Matrix? The Matrix is always trying to get you to believe that everything here is wonderful. You know, you've got the New Agers telling us that we're going into the new Earth, and the Earth's not, and nature's wonderful, and the human body's amazing, and everything's amazing, right? They're always trying to convince us that things here are great, even to the point where they're trying to tell us that death is beautiful, right? Let's face it, let's be honest, guys. We're always honest on this channel. death is not something that I'm particularly looking forward to, just because I don't know how it's going to happen. Maybe there's going to be some pain. Probably there will be. It can, you can sometimes lose your mind. For some people, it can last months. It can last years. If you have a debilitating disease, you can lose your dignity. In some cases, where you're peeing and pooping the bed, right? Let's be real. Death is not beautiful. Death is artificially created in this realm to squeeze as much loose energy as possible, as much fear, anxiety for these entities to feed on and this AI to feed on. It's like squeezing a lemon, as I mentioned before. But they want you, Henry David Thoreau wants you to believe that death is beautiful. And not only is it beautiful for you, it's beautiful when you watch your loved ones die and your animals die and the people that you care about die. What a bunch of horse shit. It's not beautiful, it's evil. And of course, eat is in the word death, because, like I say, that's when they're squeezing a lemon. So let's not play let's pretend. And I get something, I don't fear death. And, I'm not saying that you should, but I'm certainly not looking forward to it. Anyway, let's carry on.
Hello, Sharon. Could you tell us about your near-death experience?
I was sitting on the back steps of my house talking on a cordless phone, and it started to rain, and I heard this like thunder that sounded like it was in the distance, but then it was like I heard a loud crack, and the lightning bolt had come out of the sky and hit my right arm.
But death is beautiful, isn't it? Weren't we just told that death is beautiful? She gets hit by a lightning, not just once, by the way, 5 times, I think, 4 or 5 times. But death is beautiful.
And it went through me, left char marks on the concrete steps where I was sitting, and then it traveled under the house and hit. There was a transformer in front of the house, and so it hit that. When it hit me, I felt this.
¿Qué es lo primero que haces al despertar? Si es
Mind
revisar tu
Valley,
teléfono,
Mind
para.
Valley en
Mejor,
español.
usa esta técnica de José.
Like burning, searing. It was an agonizing pain, and it was in my arm.
Agonizing pain, searing pain, the wonderful human body. The body is a temple.
Arm, and it started going across my chest, and then at that point, I just came right up out of my body. It was just like peeling a banana, it just popped right out. I saw myself laying there at one point, but I didn't think anything about it. There was nothing, no connection in my brain that was me.
This is something to bear in mind, guys. I know it's morbid, but we need to speak about it. Like, none of us know when we're going to go, right? None of us know. Maybe they know. That's up for debate. So we've always, got to be prepared, right? This isn't information that you can just put off and put it to the back burner, like, I don't know, like Flat Earth or some of the other rabbit holes. Because, yeah, they're important to know and understand, but this one is so important to get it right, especially this lifetime, when you consider that they wipe the memory and we go through the veil of forgetfulness. This should be urgent for everyone to be looking at, research. We've done it before, probably. And you could just, like she said, you could just pop out of your body at any point. So I would say to everyone, just be prepared as soon as you can, have a plan.
Laying there. I didn't know. It happened so fast that I didn't know I was dead. It seemed very seamless, very flawless. I was just out of my body. And I walked up the stairs and into my kitchen. And I stood in my kitchen and I was looking all around. And it was my kitchen, but the curtains on the window was not mine. and everything had this burnt gold look to it. I was confused as to why, everything looked so odd. And then I walked into my dining room and I looked at the furniture and none of it was mine.
Neighbours have moved in already. They had their eye on her place.
And I couldn't figure it out. I walked into the living room and I heard what sounded like an old-time radio show playing, like something back in the Waltons. And I couldn't figure out where that sound was coming from. We didn't have a radio. I couldn't figure it out, and I didn't know where everybody was. I didn't know whose furniture all that was, or where I was. It was my house. I knew how to get around in it. I just didn't know what all that stuff was that was in there. And just about the time that I started to panic, really, really panic, there was a huge, formless, loving presence that appeared. And
interesting. Formless, loving presence. Where have we heard that one before?
It was like I was just wrapped in this huge presence arms, that love.
See, to me, that's a bit creepy, right? Like, imagine, like, let's look at it as on a physical point of view. You're out, right? You're out and about, and someone you don't know just wraps their arms around you. All right, they might have good intentions, but it's like these people, they don't, like, for me, I'd be like, who is that? Like, all right, it might feel nice, but who are you? But these people, they don't seem to ask any questions. Like, if you're going to hug me, you're like, you need to ask me permission, or we need to be like in a relationship or something. But, they just grab hold of you, or I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but even though that's like a loving energy, it's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what that is. To me, it's a bit creepy.
It was so huge and it just filled every fiber of my being. And I wasn't afraid anymore. And I felt no pain, no worry, nothing. It was just, I felt such joy in that love that I was experiencing.
Here we go with the love bomb. The love bomb frequency. This is what they do. They woo-woo you. They hit you so hard with the love where you end up being like a rabbit in a headlight. And of course that happens in this dimension as well with people, demonic people with demons working through them. What happens? You get love bombed. They have to love bomb you to get you to feel safe, to get you to feel secure. Because if they just showed up in their true nature and you felt their true energy, you wouldn't go anywhere near them.
And then we did not go up, we didn't go down, we went sideways. And we moved at a very great speed through these beautiful pink and gold clouds. They were so beautiful.
I mean, guys, when I hear this stuff, like, I completely get why probably myself, probably all of you guys watching, we've gone round and round. I mean, they really put on a show. And this is what people need to be aware of, in the fact that they are able to put on such a performance, such a show, and we're going to see it with the heavenly realm that she goes to, that it's so convincing. Like, if you are unresearched and unread in these topics, and you haven't spent a good amount of time, I'm talking months to years, sifting through information like this, where people are breaking it down, doesn't have to be me. It's so easy to get tricked, right?
It was like, I don't know, pink cotton candy with liquid gold running through them. They were just beautiful. And we moved really quickly. And when we got to the end of the pink and gold clouds, there was a beautiful garden. So we were just at the entrance of this beautiful garden. Two young men stepped forward.
It's very important to listen first, talk second. That's counterintuitive for most people.
Right there at the beginning. And at first I thought they were angels because they had physical bodies and they were just glowing. And they had long, curly, blonde hair that was a darker blonde with my color running through it.
And don't forget, these entities will shapeshift into anything that is most palatable to convince you, to get you feeling safe. And we're going to see this in a minute.
And as soon as they smiled at me, it was like, oh my gosh, I know who you are. You know, yeah, they were angels, but not angels, not typical. You know, not your real angel. They were my two brothers who had died when they were babies, and it was like a jolt of recognition. I knew, even though I hadn't met them in this lifetime, I knew who they were there. They were actually the ones that had tell me that I died, because I didn't know what was.
Again, I would question whether that was truly her brothers. I think she said loved ones. To me, when people die, based on what I've researched anyway, is that you either end up in the holding place, the waiting area, or the other astral earthly realm, waiting to come back for another human lifetime, or you're already down in another human body being used as a battery. You know, this matrix doesn't seem to waste time with people. So, but anyway,
What's happening? It was like we had a wonderful family reunion when we met each other, and they looked exactly like my dad when my dad was a young man.
Yeah, they looked exactly like your dad, but was it your dad?
So it was a very beautiful family gathering that we had, and they were showing me around the garden, and that's when they told me that I had died. And I thought, well, if this is dying, I can do this. This is not bad. I can do that.
Yeah, because you're in a false, fake heavenly realm, and they make it like that, so you feel like that. So then you come back down and become a wonderful propaganda agent of the Matrix, and sell this to everyone else.
This, because there were so many beautiful colors, flowers everywhere. There was a stream, and the stream had looked like diamonds in it, and it was so beautiful. There were colors I couldn't even tell you what the colors were. They were so vibrant. My senses were very, very heightened. It was like I could see all the way around without turning my head, and I could see minute details at very far distance. So I'm in awe of all this beauty.
Exactly. She's in awe. She's awestruck. She's not anchored in her own self-energy. She's out there. She's like completely bamboozled, rabbit in a headlight. So, because we understand the Matrix, she's very vulnerable. She's actually easy pickings at this point. They've got her where they want her. She's gone.
And I heard music, and it was what I call big music. It was just like you take the biggest orchestras that there are, and you put them all together, into one great big orchestra.
They're really rolling out the red carpet for her. The orchestras are out, the family members are out, all the colours.
And it was like the colors had a vibration. The leaves on the trees had a different vibration. The grass had another vibration. I heard birds. So there was another vibration for their music, and the water and the rocks, and everything had its own vibrational sound. And when you put all that together, you have this magnificent orchestra. And that's what I was hearing, this music that was so beautiful. It was everything and everyone was singing praises to God. And it was just absolutely breathtaking. They showed me there in the distance, there was what I call the glorious city, and there was a big wall that surrounded the city.
Okay. Red flag. Wall surrounding the city. That's either to keep people out, or you would think maybe to keep people in. So, but again, she doesn't think anything of that. She just continues. I would be thinking that would be a bit strange. Possibly, is it the earthly realm that these astral travelers have spoken about? Maybe. But the fact that there's a wall around the city, someone's not free. Someone's not free to either come in or go out. That's what I'd be thinking.
So I knew that, that was some kind of barrier You know, you get to that point, and once you get past that point, you don't come back. So I knew that it was something similar to that. I never got that.
But they're always telling these people that they have free will and they're free and all that stuff, yet there's these barriers, and if they go to a certain place, they're not allowed to go. And you know what I mean? It's like, really?
Close, although I did see some of the buildings on the outskirts of the city. I did see in the city there was a marble building, a round marble building that had a golden dome, and it was huge. It was spectacular. It was gorgeous, and I could see the archways and the columns, and you know, everything was made out of this white marble, alabaster, and there were very intricate designs carved into the archways and into the columns, and I was able to see that.
You hear a lot about these kind of buildings. I remember once, years and years ago, when I had an acid experience, I saw one of these buildings. They looked like one of those Greek panthelons. So there's definitely some interesting constructions, although it's astral constructions there.
Now, on some of the the buildings on the outskirts, I could see there was what I called a healing hospital. It was like a spiritual hospital, and behind the building,
this could be. I've heard accounts of people going to these places when they've had their lifetime on Earth to recover, because it's so difficult here. It's so dense. You know, obviously all the trauma and the things that we go through. Could be that.
Were these two pools, and they were rectangular shaped. They were long and square, or not square, but rectangular.
And the pools could even be the vow of forgetfulness. It's often linked with water. There's a series on Netflix that got taken down. I can't for the life of me remember what it was. And they spoke about the vow of forgetfulness, and they had it depicted as pools actually. So again, I'm not saying it is or it isn't here, but just this is kind of speculation, but it could well be.
And it was like a courtyard. There were, you know, plants and flowers, roses and things like that, but the water seemed alive.
Did you know that you can call your soulmate into your life right now?
Wow!
Here's how.
Let's call our
This is the
soulmates
soulmate sketch I
into our
drew,
life.
and this is who she met 4 weeks later.
Oh, cringe.
I'll draw it.
It wasn't like living water. It was like a moving water. And then there was a place where babies and children go, and they are loved and cared for by mentors and teachers and, you know, great grandmas and
mentors and teachers. There's always mentors and teachers and guides and elders, isn't there? There's always something that knows more than you. And that's part of the illusion, isn't it? And we're going to see it with this lady. She completely gives her power away. I won't spoil it yet, but, you know, and we come back here because we don't learn our lessons properly, because Earth's a school, apparently, even though they wipe your memory, so it can't be. And you have to ask yourself, are these teachers, guides, elders, are they actually effective? Are they actually doing a good job at what they're doing? Does anyone review what they're doing? Because we're coming back here a lot of times, so someone's not doing their job properly.
Great-great-grandmas and, you know, the children were all playing, and they were all different sizes and ages. And it was like Toys R Us on steroids. They had all these toys. It was amazing.
And again, you know, that could be part of the illusion. So she's thinking that children are well cared for. And because we know these entities and the beings behind this matrix, they have no regard for children at all. In fact, we know what they do to children in this dimension. So to me, it could all still it could be part of the trick. So she comes back here and says, oh, you know, children are cared for, babies are cared for. It's all love and light and all of that stuff.
And they were having so much fun. But everywhere I went, I saw people. And everyone had what looked like a physical body. And I realized that everyone was around the same age, late 20s, early 30s, like my brothers were. And when they told me that I had died, I looked down the front of me to see if I had a body like everybody else did. And I did have a body. I could see my hair going down the front of me. I could see my clothes. I could see my legs and my feet. And I could feel the grass, the cool grass on my feet. And it was, like I said before, if this is death, I can do this. You know, I was still me. I looked like me, only a better version of me. And I was glowy, just like everybody else was. I still had my identity. I was still who I am now. I did notice that one of the big things I noticed, that you can't take anything with you. The only thing you take with you is your memories, your identity.
But we're going to see in a minute how her lack of, lack of pursuing her own sovereignty and everything that means really slips her up and lets her down as she goes through this. So I talk a lot about sovereignty over spirituality. What is sovereignty? Self-responsibility, being your own leader, discerning, courage, questioning things, speaking up. Everything that they don't want and everything that in the New Age they tell you is bad to do. We're going to see the results of this woman really doing no work on herself during her physical life, because you don't just become all knowing when you pass over. The things that you've the traits that you've taken on and the beliefs that you've taken on go with you.
Who you are, the love that you had for the people in your life and that kind of thing. But I've had people ask me before, why didn't you take your cell phone? Well, you can't take anything with you when you go. And
people are they're more concerned about taking their cell phones with them when they pass over than anything else. What does that tell you about the state of humanity?
I didn't have a cell phone anyway. So my brothers were showing me around. There was this one room where it looked like they were having a party. I didn't know who the party was for, but we were kind of standing in the doorway, and I could see the decorations in the room and how magnificent the room looked. Deep mahogany, beautiful mahogany walls, and marble floor. There was a pink plush carpet on the floor. There were chandeliers bigger than my house hanging, just sparkling, and there were people everywhere. And the women were dressed in these beautiful gowns, and they had jewelry that matched the dresses. There were flowers that matched the colors of all the dresses and things like that. It's
like a show's being put on for her. You know, all these people in their wonderful gowns and the chandeliers, and this woman, you can tell she's already got an inherent belief system of not being worthy, not being good enough. There's pedalization going on. She already knows, or she already thinks that other beings know more than her. By the way she's talking, you can just tell. And the matrix, the system, they're always trying to get you to think that you're little me. And I wonder if this is all just part of it, to bamboozle her.
Like you would see at a wedding. There was a man over in the corner. He was playing this piano, a huge piano. There was a candelabra on the piano and a crystal vase with roses spilling out of the vase and onto the piano. People were dancing. Some people were singing. Some people were talking. Some people were eating. And there was food. On the other side of the room, I saw tables that had this beautiful white linen and silver trays with every kind of food you could imagine, finger foods, for people to eat at parties.
They literally had a party for her.
And it was like being infused with like an IV bottle of divine wisdom and knowledge. And
you hear this a lot with these NDEs. They always say that they then became like all-knowing and they knew everything and knowledgeable and everything like that. But really, it's BS, because if that was the case, they would be like, okay, I need to run. I need to get out of here. I need to go in the other direction. This is a trick, right? So whatever this bottle of wisdom was, it wasn't true wisdom. Wasn't like saying, look, why don't you think that this is a bit off? What about this? Don't you think that that's a bit of a red flag? Or like there was none of that, right? It's just a download of what she calls wisdom, but whose wisdom, right?
I got that when I first got there to the garden, and it was like I'm carrying around this IV.
Estaba pagando 3 tarjetas al mes y cada vez sería más. Los intereses eran absurdos y no veía la luz al final.
Oh, for God's sake.
And I'm getting all this knowledge and all this wisdom, and so you don't eat food. I mean, you have the body that I had was called what I call a light body. I don't know what other way to put it. I felt light. Didn't feel gravity pulling me down. I didn't feel heavy. It didn't feel dense like our bodies do here. And yet I still had a body. And I realize I know you don't eat in heaven because you need to sustain your life. And there is no killing of animals in heaven or whatever. There's none of that. It's just, you think it, God thinks it, and there it is.
Yeah, she's convinced she's in heaven. And she says, you think it, God thinks it is there. Yeah, we have those abilities as well, right?
Strictly for enjoyment, and it's not to sustain your life. So I saw that. There was a time when I had it was a life review, and
here we go. I mean, just the life review, like none of these people say, what, you record my entire life? Like, that's creepy as hell. The fact that they record your entire, like, imagine you're peeping and pooping, sorry to go there, but and they can see it, right? That's weird, that's creepy. But these people, they're just like, oh, okay, oh, you record my life, oh, that's okay. Because they've got no, this is what I mean. They've got no sense of sovereignty. Like, for us watching this, we'd be like, hang on a minute, where's my autonomy? Where's my privacy? Like, you can't just do that. Like, I'm not accepting that. That's not going to happen. But these people are just like, oh, you record my life then, okay, all right, where's my life review? Like, their mindset is still of a slave, right? They don't have the ability to stand up for themselves. They don't even think about standing up for themselves.
At that point, there was a whole bunch of people that came over, and they were coming over for love and support. And
so you're on blast with your life review, and then a crowd of people who you don't know are surrounding you. Like, I don't care how much love they're admitting. I'm like, hang on a minute, this is creepy, this is weird.
They were all dressed in different clothing from different time periods. I knew who they were, but I didn't know where I knew them from.
Oh yeah, you know who they are. These are your guides, these are your elders. These are the beings that have tricked you many, many times, I would imagine.
I kept thinking, where I know these people, but I don't know where I know them. But anyway, so some of the women were in dresses and fancy, beautiful dresses. Some of the men were in fancy suits, and then there were
all these people for a life review, right?
Or some people that were just dressed like you and I, the way we dress today, or lounge clothes, or whatever they felt comfortable in, I guess. But they were surrounding me. My 2 brothers were still with me, so I had one on either side, and that loving presence was behind me.
Again, it's a bit weird. A group of people, a presence behind you.
And it was just pouring that beautiful love into me. And there was
of course, you're in for your life review. This is a key moment for them. This is a key moment for the entities where they want to try and hook you back in again. So of course you're going to get love bombed.
It appeared to me like an old-fashioned movie, a black and white movie on an old-fashioned reel, and I'm watching my life from the time I was a baby until that day when I died. And it was really fast. I felt no judgment. I felt no condemnation. It was like I watched this with no thought whatsoever.
How can you? I mean, I don't believe that, because if I'm being made to watch my life review, automatically I'm going to feel judged, right? Just by the very nature of beings that I don't know showing me my life. But they're always very quick to come down back here as agents of the Matrix, propaganda agents. They repeat it all the time. I didn't feel judged. I wasn't judged. I wasn't judged. When we know damn well they're being judged, right? Because that's how they shoehorn you back.
It was just for, this happened and that's it. It's over. It was over really quick. And I thought, wow, my life must have been boring because it was over so fast. But what was missing is that I'd always been raised to condemn myself. And I learned that we're the ones who judge ourselves when we're standing in front of...
Yeah, exactly. They're not judging you, but they make you judge yourself just by the nature of showing you your life review and probably pick out some bad bits.
The supreme being that was behind me. And he was...
Supreme being. Listen to her language, the pedalization. Supreme being. She just has such a low opinion of her own essence. She's elevated beings that she's never met before, just because they've love bombed her and they've shown up in suits and dresses and stuff like that, bamboozled her, and she's already got this underlying not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy program, as many people do. We're a slave race, you know, that's stuff that you need to work through. Again, in this lifetime.
He wasn't judging me, and I didn't judge me, so it was over. Then I heard a male voice say, what you put out into the universe will come back to you.
Do you feel like there's a rug pull coming? She's obviously put too much out bad into the universe, right? Maybe there's a lesson that she needs to go back and learn. There'll be something, I'm sure.
And at that point in my life, I had never heard words like that. I didn't know anything about anything, you know, anything spiritual, I guess.
Yeah, what about all the people that are doing the rituals and murdering and assaulting people and all the bad things that don't happen to them after they've done it, and all the bad things that happen to good people that are good people and constantly put good things out into the universe, quote unquote, and have bad things happen to them, end up in car crashes and cancers, you know, let's go there. That shit happens to good people every day. But she wants to tell you it's a new age, new cage concept. In fact, I probably need to do one of my shorts on this one. What you put out comes back. That's a good one to do, actually. It's not the case, though, is it? It's not consistent. And a great case in point, I spoke about this before, was a guy in New Zealand. There was flooding in New Zealand. And this guy bravely went from house to house. They said that he must have saved about 5 or 6 people, women and children. And on his last trip back, he fell down a manhole into a sewer, snapped his neck and died, right? He drowned in people's feces, right? After saving people. So don't tell me that by putting good stuff out, good stuff automatically comes back. It clearly doesn't work like that. This is a new age deception.
Although I was a very spiritual child, I wasn't necessarily religious, just very spiritual, but I did not hear those. I had never heard that. And so the lesson that I learned is that if you put out hatred, you're going to get hatred back. If you put out love, you get love.
And I'm sorry, right? You can tell that this woman is not full of hatred. Like she's ignorant. Yes, she's not really done any work on herself. She's gullible. She's naive. She's too over-trusting. She pedalizes. But you can tell she's not a person that has put out a lot of bad or evil into the universe. But here they are telling her, we're not judging you, honestly, but there is this little issue we have.
Love back. It's that kind of thing.
Stop women.
There was again, that spiritual IV bottle of knowledge where it was explained to me what those words meant. And it was like a boomerang. And that if we put these things out, good or bad or whatever, it it goes out into the universe, spins, gains momentum, and comes back. And I thought, wow, I don't want to get hit in the head with a boomerang, so I'm going to be good. And try to be more cognizant of how I respond to people. So then
yeah, and now she's just going to be back, like, just put out high vibrations and all this stuff. Like, she's just deeper. I feel sorry for these people. I really do, because they have these experiences and they come back even more brainwashed. This woman, sadly, she's probably going to live 100 lives before she even, she's got no chance of. I hope she stumbles across this video, but probably she would just disregard it, as many of them would, because they've gone through this love bombing and this heavenly realm, this fake heavenly realm, and they've really done a job on these people. And now she thinks that she's been bad, so she's got guilt. She's got guilt and shame, even though that she was told that they're not judging her. And she's very quick to point out, I wasn't judging, I didn't feel judged. It's all about judgment and making you feel bad. That's how they get you to come back.
Or walking around further in the garden, I'm seeing all these things and I'm wowed, totally wowed by all of it. It was such a beautiful moment, but Jesus appeared and he was standing there. He comes walking out of a grove of trees over in the corner by...
How convenient. You could just imagine how they set it all up, right? They're like, okay, so Jesus, God, let's get them all in here, right? So what we do at this point, right, when we've just done the life review, you come out of the woods, right, Jesus, and, and you can just imagine him, hiding, waiting for her, and then all of a sudden he's like, hi, I'm Jesus.
Close to where the city is, and he comes over, and when he walks over to me, my brothers disappear. I don't know where they went. They left. And
yeah, they've done their job. These entities that you thought you were the brothers. You're now round 2, right? That part's over with. The brothers got you to this point. Brothers.
He was so beautiful, and he told me that he loved me, not to be afraid, and that he'd be with me. Well, that was my first clue that I was coming back, but it went right over my head. I didn't realize it.
He loves you, but you're coming back. And you can tell, she didn't want to come back. That was my first clue, that I was coming back, right? They didn't outright come out and say it, because they know. They know it's not a great place to come back to.
I'd never been that deep into an experience like this, so I didn't know what was going on, really. So he walked me over.
Imagine if this woman had watched 100 different of these kind of reviews and studied. She wouldn't be getting hoodwinked like she's getting hoodwinked. She wouldn't even get to that point.
To a wooded glen. There were pine cones laying on the ground, little blue flowers that had popped up, but you could see there was a log laying there, and I sat down on the log, and there were sunlight was coming through the tall pine trees and the oak trees, and so I'm sitting there, and there's a man sitting on the other end of the log, and I knew that man was God.
Hi, I'm God. I'm just sitting here on the tree. There's only 7 billion other people, but I'm here for you. Just, oh my God, these people. I shouldn't say that, but these. Just.
He looked completely different than Jesus did, but yet.
Yeah, demon.
They had similar personalities, similar.
His son that he loved so much, he sent back down here to die. Just the whole thing satanic. Oh dear.
Similar feeling, and. So God looked at me, and he said to me, what would you do if it was just me and you? And I didn't understand.
It's just me and you, kid. What would you do?
And what he meant. That concept did not register in my brain. What are you talking about? So he said it again. What would you do if it was just me and you? If there was no parents.
God, he works in such mysterious ways, doesn't he? He's such a tease.
No kids, no friends, nobody, just me and you. And I still didn't get it, so he stood up and he said, come with me. And we walked further into the garden, into a clearing. And he kind of waved his hand, and when he did, it was like the sky opened up, and I could see the vastness of the universe. I saw the stars and the planets.
Yeah, you can do stuff like that as well. It's nothing. There's nothing special to this god. It's just intention.
Planets and different colors, and I thought, wow, that's all really big, but there's no trees, no people, no cars, no houses.
See how attached she is to like earthly things as well? No people, no cars, no houses. I really think that also keeps people hooked in. And when you look at what the astral travelers say, they say in the astral version of Earth, people have jobs, money, they want to eat because they listen to Earth music. So that connection to this realm is something that needs to be acknowledged, because potentially that could trip you up, maybe. Certainly if you get to this part.
I looked over at him and I said, if it's all of that and just me and you would be tired of me after the first 10 minutes with all my questions and chatter, and then you wouldn't like me very much anymore. So I told him, no, that was more than I could.
Yeah, but God is supposed to be omnipotent, isn't he? He's supposed to know everything already. But the New Cagers will tell us, when you ask them why kids get raped and there's wars and stuff like that, they'll tell you God needs to experience that for himself. Even though he's omnipotent, he still needs to experience that. And how many times does he need to experience a war before he knows what war's like? Like, none of it makes sense. But just keep praying to him and worshipping him, because he needs that. He's so insecure.
Take, I guess. But he laughed. He threw his head back and he laughed. And when he laughed, his eyes sparkled. And he had a really good personality.
I bet.
And so we went back and we sat on the log, and he asked me the question again. And then
I'd be like, can you just cut to the chase? I've just died. Can you just tell me what you need to tell me and stop playing all these riddles and games with me? I really would say that as well. I don't care who you are. I would be like, look, I haven't got time for this. I've just died. I've just been hit by lightning. I've just had a life review because I didn't even know you recorded my life, and now you're playing all these riddles with me. Right? Just tell me what you want to tell me. But they're like, no, it's God. It's God. I literally would speak to him like anyone else. I don't pedestalize people. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care what you've done. Of course, there's people I can admire and things like that, but pedestalize, no, never.
I didn't know I don't know where these words came from. I don't know. I never read anything. I didn't understand anything about what I was saying, but the words came into my mind that God, you are everywhere, you are nowhere, and you are in me. All of those.
In me, not that God. That God's not in me, for sure.
Words, and I didn't know. He said, yes, that's right. And so I'm looking at this tree, and I'm looking at the detail of the bark of this very ancient oak tree that was right there. And I noticed the roots in the ground, the detail of the bark, the leaves, and how the roots pull the nutrients out of the ground. And
it may be true that we have a spark of essence within us, but not that imposter. And we're going to see what an imposter he is in a minute. This is a deceiver. This isn't in you. This wants to merge with you and maybe be in you, but it's not who you truly are.
And those go up through the trunk of the tree and into the leaves, and the leaves clean the air, and we breathe the air. And so everything is connected and interdependent upon everything else. That was big for me and my thinking that, wow, everything is connected. and everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, and there's no mistake about it.
Oh, I hate that. When new cages say that, everything's perfect, everything's as it should be. I need to do a video on that as well. Yeah, right. Kids starving, constant wars. Yeah, everything's as it should be. It's just spiritual bypassing 101, isn't it?
Not any of it. So then I started thinking about my parents, and I said about the tree, I said, God, you made this tree. You are in this tree. So when I see this tree, I see you. He said, yes, that's right. Then I started thinking about my parents, and I said the same thing about my parents. You made my parents. You are in my parents. So when I see my parents, I see you. Yeah, that's right. And so I started thinking about someone.
He's getting angry now. He's getting angry with her questions.
Who had hurt me very deeply in my life. And I said, even though there are people that hurt other people, you made these people. You are in these people. And he said, yes, that's right. And
yeah, because people that do that, hurt people, rape people, murder people, have got demons working through them. So yes, he is in them. Because he's one of them. That's what he really is.
So that's when I learned about free will, actually. Then he asked,
we don't have free will. It's an illusion. Try crossing a border without a passport. You can't do it. Well, you can if you if you want to chance your arm crossing rivers and jungles and that kind of stuff. That's something that they need to keep telling you. Like, we're not judging you. It's the same as that. We're not judging you. We're not judging you. You have free will. You have free will. When it's an inversion.
He said, well, I got a question for you. I said, okay. And he said, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? I said, well, my first thought was, I didn't know how to answer him, because you don't tell the creator of everything that you see nothing when you look in the mirror. And at that point in my life, I saw nothing.
Yeah, she's got such a low opinion of herself because she's not done the work when she was alive. She's just not done anything on herself. So, of course, she just has this I'm not worthy opinion. And, of course, that apparently there's God, right? So she's already got him up here. I'm not worthy, sir. I'm not worthy. And when you act like that, you're going to get trampled on.
Just me, which was nothing, because I had been so beaten down by the world.
Control and domination. That's the goal of all power systems.
Breezy voice.
They can't.
People were telling me, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're worthless, all of these horrible things. And I was believing it. And that's when God was like, I don't make junk. I don't make mistakes. You are important. I made you. I'm in you. You know, that.
He says you don't make mistakes. And guys, I'm just going to go here again, right? What about people that are born with disabilities? What about people that are born with like one limb? What about people that are born with defects? Right? For this God to say he doesn't make mistakes is a lie, because we see in real time that that's not true. And I'm not saying that these people on a soul level is a mistake, but they are defected, so they by proxy will have a more difficult experience. Which, if you're saying you're a loving creator and apparently he loves everyone, why would you do that? Why would you allow that? And the new cagers will say, well, you know, it's their karma. Like, maybe they killed someone, so they chose a life, or they had to have a life where they had one leg, or, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, all this horse crap. Or maybe they chose that experience to learn a lesson. Maybe they needed to learn to have patience, so they were born with one leg, so they felt what it was like to just have one leg. Like, this is how they try and spin it, this evil that goes on.
Kind of thing. We had this conversation where he was telling me there was no mistake. That, I believe, was the reason why I had been hit by lightning 4 times. He was trying to get my attention.
Can you believe that she just said that? God loves you so much to get your attention. Let's just break this down. To get your attention, he will hit you with lightning 4 times. Not once, no. Not twice, no. Not 3 times, no. 4 times. Hey, I'm here. Hi. Hello. Oh, damn it. She's not looking at me. Hello, are you there? Damn it, she still won't look at me. Have that. Hello, hello, hello. Do you know what? Have this. Oh, hi, God. Like, you know, surely there's gentler ways, like leave a clue, or like a, I don't know, like a messenger. Or God has all these messengers in human form, or channeled people. Like, surely one of them could step forward and say, "Hey, the other day I was channeling God, and I got this message for you." But no, God loves you so much, He wants to hit you with lightning. Make it make sense. It's like being in a cafe, right? And a stranger wants to get your attention. Instead of like saying, "Excuse me," or just tapping you on the shoulder, which would be a violation of my space. It's like they come up to you and just go, whack, right? Oh, I was just trying to get your attention. It's like, how can you believe this garbage? And she's lapping it up. She's loving it. She absolutely loves the garbage. And this is why we are in trouble. Because there are billions of people like her that are snorting up this hopium and copium. And to believe that your loving creator would do that to you just to get your attention, it's just incredible to me. Like, it really is. But anyway.
Because of all this abuse that I had been taking from people. And
so she's been taking abuse from people, so God's going to give her more physical abuse, right? Like, that's what you're saying, yeah?
Every time I was hit by lightning, it was like, I'm trying to talk to you, and you're not listening. So he, turned up the volume each time until...
He turned up the volume. This is almost as bad as the review where the woman meets God, and she doesn't want to go back down to earth, but then she said, well, God told me I had free will, and then He stuffed me in my body, and I was back down on earth. But He loves me. It's this same God.
Till that day. And it was big enough to where I was standing in front of Him, and He was able to say, "You are not what the world tells you you are. You are what I tell you you are. And I made you perfectly. And in my eyes, you are perfect."
No, you're not. I'm sorry. You're gullible. You're naive. You're just too accepting. You believe in fairy tales. You're snorting too much copium. You're delusional. You're not perfect. You're actually not perfect because you haven't done the work on yourself. You haven't walked the path of sovereignty. The hard path, the path that no one wants to walk, where you have to go through this information. You got to eat these shit sandwiches till you get to the golden nuggets. So you're not.
Even though we live an imperfect journey, we are not perfect, but in His eyes, what He made, what He created is perfect. And that I would stop listening to...
He wants you to think you're perfect, so you don't do the work on yourself, which is what's going to happen. She's just going to sit back now. When that time comes, she's like, I'm going back there. And when she gets in that processing center, she's going to get the shock of her life. Because it ain't what she was shown. She was shown this to show others. So when they die, they think it's going to be all right. Heaven's there, God's there, Jesus is there, loved ones are there. They're looking after babies. There's swimming pools there. There's beautiful buildings. It's a fake heavenly realm, a fake experience.
To the world and listen to him.
How exactly did this experience impact your belief systems? Did you become more spiritual, more religious?
Well,
No, she's more indoctrinated than ever.
I
Can this strange drawing make someone fall in love with you? It sounds unbelievable, but when you see the face of your soulmate, you will get butterflies.
I wouldn't say religious, actually, although I have always had a very deep love for Jesus. But I wouldn't say that I was like overly religious. I was more spiritual. And after I had that experience, I came back on what I called the pink bubble. And that was, I didn't know what else to call it. I had no words. I didn't even know NDE, that word.
I go from being angry with this woman to feeling really sorry for her and sad because they're doing, she looks kind of crazy there. Because what they're doing is so evil, it makes me angry. And there's nothing wrong with feeling angry, right? I'm not in the new cage. Righteous anger is valid. I'm angry for what they're doing, not only to her, to other people. And I'm kind of angry at the ignorance of her. But then I flip-flop and I feel sad for her. And I feel like she would have to go through so much deprogramming that it would almost be impossible for her to not be tricked. And that's the reality of it. That's how I feel. I don't know if you guys feel the same. Let me know in the comments.
Word. No, I knew nothing about any of this stuff. So I didn't have words to explain to people what I experienced. And they all thought I was crazy. And I was like, no, I'm not. But my love for the creator, God, source, whatever people call it. And
after he hit you with 4 light bolts, go on.
That deepened. I had the deep oneness still. It was like I still had a foot in heaven and a foot here. I was like literally floating. And everything I looked at had this pink glow, and it was like I was literally reborn again, not the reborn.
I mean, they talk about earthly temptations, but I mean, the astral, that seems to be on another level with the love bombs, the colours, the music. I mean, if they put on a show for people, they put on a show.
That some people talk about, but it was like I felt like a baby again, and I was just in awe of the beautiful flowers and the birds, and I had birds.
Yeah, wait till all that wears off in a month or two, and you're back down on reality, and you're having to deal with paying bills and the constant stuff that we're up against here, and illness and sickness and other loved ones getting sick and pets dying and all the stuff that we do. that experience, I would imagine, would soon wear off.
And animals flocking to my yard. And people were saying, when I would walk into a store, they would say, "You just glow," But I loved everything and everyone, and that lasted for about 6 months until.
Yeah, until it didn't. I'm back here again. This is reality.
The cruelty of the world. I was blown away by. I couldn't believe that what the world is like.
Yeah, exactly what I said. You're back here again, in the hell realm. Of course you're going to feel wonderful after being in a fake heavenly realm and meeting with God.
That's what it was, like when I was in that pink bubble that did burst eventually, but it was about 6 months.
The bubble burst.
And then coming back to reality, it was like, well, oh my goodness, it was a shock. But I honor and respect all religions and traditions, whatever, and I believe that. And God never asked me what my religion was.
Yeah, no, he doesn't care. He doesn't care what version of him you believe in, just as long as you believe in him. And now you've met him, of course, you're hooked in forever. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or a Jew or a Christian or whatever. He doesn't care. Like, you're easy prey, literally prey. Right? I say it all the time. When you pray, you pray. like an antelope for a lion, and she is easy prey. Job done, tick, by her name. No more work needed is what they would be saying about her. And she has now become the perfect propaganda agent for people. 122,000 views this video. And again, this is why I say, don't complain about me doing these reviews, right? Because there's